Emerson Axsom is racing on grit and guts. With limited resources and limitless determination, he's proving he belongs at the front of the field. 2025 Hoosier hero Emerson Axsom joins us. Full-time racer at age 20 from Franklin, Indiana. This is kind of cool. We got another Hoosier hero that represents what is the next step in the racing. Full-time racing now at this young age. How exciting is that for you, knowing what's ahead after what you already accomplished?
Yeah, it's very exciting. I'm very fortunate to have a good group of guys around me, and have had a good group of guys around me in the past. So, you really wouldn't be able to do it without a large group of people. It definitely takes an army. So, I'm just very fortunate and excited for the future to get going and see kind of how it plays out.
Emerson Axsom is a very accomplished racer at just this young age. And when it comes to micro sprint racing on dirt, there's one destination you got to prove yourself, and it's the Tulsa Shootout, the indoor race that the Chili Bowl races afterward. But for the micros, that's the jam. They give you a golden drill like the winner of the Chili Bowl does, and you've got 4 of those on this shelf for winning micros. That's when I first encountered, like, who's the next kid? Who's that kid?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about Emerson Axsom. How hard was that to get to that level and compete against drivers that were more experienced, older, or among 400 entries in your one class?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I went 1 year, my very first year, I just went to watch. Me and my dad had bought Zeb Wise's micro, and we just went to watch and kind of see what it was about and see if that was the next step that we needed to take. And sure enough, once we got there and seen, how legit it is, you're racing against real competition and stuff like that, and it's a real race car. I mean, it's got a crotch rocket motor on it, but at the end of the day, it teaches you enough to how to drive a midget or a sprint car. So we've seen that was the next step, and my first 2 years we went there, and I think I only made 1A main, and I think I ran 16th 1 year and 10th the next year. And then we come back our third year, and I was a lot more mature and experienced than my dad. Had figured out how I like the cars and stuff like that, working on them wise, and we picked up an Outlaw wing driller, and it was tough. I mean, Jonathan Beeson ran second. If you watch enough Chili Bowl and Shootout stuff, you know who that is. And at the time, I had no idea who Jonathan Beeson was, but it's probably a good thing I didn't. At the age of I think 14 or something, so it was a tough deal, but it obviously gave me a lot of confidence. And like I said earlier in this interview, winning something of that magnitude gives you a feeling that you can do it, and if you take it serious enough, that you can get to that next level.
You think about your career so far, Emerson, and we've talked about how your dad raced. What are the challenges of being from a racing family? How do you set yourself apart from your dad?
Yeah, I was very fortunate that my dad, he's always been around racing too, and kind of, I guess, he wasn't where he wanted to be, and he kind of peaked out by the time I had started. So, like I said, I'm very fortunate to have a dad that would rather see me succeed than rather just stay plateaued. So I'm thankful for that, obviously, and I'm also very thankful for the connections and the time he spent, because even when I was racing a quarter midget, I run for Nolan Racing at the Little 500 and stuff like that. So when I was racing a quarter midget, we would go up and watch the Little 500 and make connections and get to know Greg and Gene Nolan. And then this year we sat on the pole of the Little 500 literally just because we went up and talked to him, and my dad's always had a connection because he raced with Nolan Racing. So just honestly, that it's more fortunate than anything that I've came from a racing family, and that my dad's been around the ringer and I didn't have to do it the hard way, because it's hard to be a first generation racer without connections, and because the only thing that's better than connections, I guess, is a little bit of money, and it's a lot easier to make connections than get a lot of money, I think. So it's more fortunate than more good than bad that comes out of that.
Brian Fossum was our 2024 Hoosier Hero Legend. And knowing what that is now about, and more people are more aware of it, how has it affected how you approach racing and not being the only thing you worry about is racing, but also getting awareness and causes out there, like Hoosier to Save Lives and organ donation?
Yeah, honestly, the biggest thing I feel like they taught me is a little bit of professionalism. Taylor from Driven to Save Lives and Tim from Colossal Martial Racing taught me a lot about how to carry myself, and taught me that a lot of people are watching, especially when you're in one of those race cars that have an organ donation on the side of the race car. So kind of what you do matters and how you carry yourself matters. So I'd say the biggest thing is that whole experience taught me a little bit how to carry myself and how to be professional.
When it comes to those opportunities and racing, often you'll find full-time sprint car drivers, full-time USAC drivers racing in micros. Christopher Bell, now Kyle Busch is getting into it. When it comes to racing at that level, what has drawn you back to that level, knowing you are going to be racing full-time sprint cars in 2025?
Honestly, just back when we first started going, me and my dad wanted to get 4 of a kind. Like, we thought it'd be cool to just get 4 of a kind. Right. Nobody's done it. Everyone has, a guy might have 3 or, a guy might have 6 drillers, but not 4 of a kind. So, nobody's done it, and we always said, we should try to just do that. And once we do that, we'll be done. So that's the goal. But I think that's kind of what draws my dad back to it, and it's something I can go back and race with my dad at a non-professional level. So I think that's a lot of the reason I do it. It's enjoyable to race with my dad still and do it at a semi-high level. Guys there, it's hard to win. There's a reason professional race car drivers don't have drillers, because it's hard. So that's why I do it. It's fun to go back and race with my dad and challenge ourselves and enjoy the challenge to try to get 4 of a kind. We'll see if one of these days we got to be able to get it done.